Perfect. So, good noon to all of us. And I'm very excited that everybody got out, on a Saturday noon to spend this time with us. So, hi, I'm Arushi, and I work with Ashoka now for 2 years, and I'm leading Horizons Achievers program. And I'm very, very excited to bring this potential opportunity to all the students who are in grades 9 to 12. So, talking about the career spotlight, and we started a series called a webinar series of career spotlights, wherein we are talking about different potential careers, avenues which are open for students right now, whether they are in their high school, undergrad, or in the postgrad degrees. We are talking about the career spotlight specifically in the context of high school students, because it is in this space that you, as a high schooler or as a high school parent, would be making these critical decisions of choosing your subjects, choosing your potential universities, choosing your majors and minors. So we want to bring these conversations to you, to your doorstep in a laptop format, wherein you would be listening to the experts who are doing really well in their fields, respective fields. So the title for this Career Spotlight webinar today is The World of Business and Economy. We can see a rising trend in some of the undergrad degrees and potential roles like, say, management, marketing, consultancy, finance. You can see a rise of educational degrees being pitched to all the students in these fields, and the potential roles that are opening right now in the world of business and economy is, say, you could be a marketer, you could be an analyst, you could be a business professional. You could also pursue a career wherein you are using skills like leadership, analytical thinking, problem solving. So bringing, all these conversations today live in a live format with two of our experts, Professor Parush and Nikhil, have also joined us. So laying the context for everyone once again, we would be starting the webinar, talking what happened, and then we would be doing a fireside chat, and then opening the floor for everyone to ask questions to our both the experts. So just quickly placing the context of what is Horizons Achievers Program. Horizons Achievers Program is the only program of its kind available to high school students, wherein high school students get an opportunity to dive deep into a concept. It is you get this opportunity to learn about a concept through live sessions which are taught by our faculty and also industry experts. When we say university faculty, these are the faculties who are doing research in this respective disciplines, and industry experts, say, like Nikhil, who are also practicing in their respective industries. So you can understand the premises and the amount of knowledge they have from the field, and they would be teaching these courses live to you. These are weekend-only courses that are taught over a span of 5 weeks on Saturdays and Sundays, and you would not only be learning live with the faculty, but you would also be applying. So you would be working on a capstone project where you would be solving real world problems, real world challenges. You would be working on a lot of case studies. So say in the course offered by Nikhil Sood, you would be actually designing a startup. You would be pitching your startup ideas, and with Professor Parush, you would be working on policy, the data. You would be working around our language, how it can be used to understand, say, if policy budgets are being allocated to, say, education, and why is it being done so, say, why is it a difference between what is being allocated in a urban population in comparison to rural population. And we would be working a lot around data. So, you would also get this extended opportunities which were never seen before for high school students when they are working live with the faculty, is a potential research opportunity, a potential internship opportunity. You could also get to compete for a publication, say, hosted by Springer Nature in one of our courses. So the amount of opportunities presented to you are endless. You would be working with us for 4 to 5 weekends, and you would be diving deep into a concept and working on a capstone project. All these courses are Ashoka certified. Top three students would also get a letter of academic appreciation for their good performance, and selected students would also get internship with our faculties. So we know that in high school space, we are right now making these decisions, and it becomes critical that we work on our profiles. So reiterating that Horizons Achievers program is here to actually build on your knowledge and strengthen your college profiles. These are some of the courses that we have done in some of the courses, like this is the potential catalog that we're doing in summer 2025. We have a list of 15 courses which are across the widest range of subjects and skills. You can see some of the soft skills like design thinking, writing and communication, well, then also research writing coming into play. You have subjects offered from, say, economics, business, to actually biosciences, data sciences, computer sciences, and the choices is on you. Some of the courses have also been offered in the past and have been revamped. So you can see that these are one of the most highest rated program as well, and the completion rate is as per the highest industry standards, that the students were 95% of the students actually completed their courses. So very quickly, I'm opening this question to all the participants we have today. I can see 12 of you. If you can, 10 of you, if you can, just answer your question, why are you here today? Like, what brings you on a Saturday to this webinar? What questions or what understanding you have of this webinar, and what made you or compelled you to join this webinar? If you can just say, type it on the chat. Yeah, you are on mute. Don't worry, we couldn't hear anything. Yash, is the chat feature available to the attendees? Perfect. So we would really love some responses, like, are there any questions that you're looking us to answer? Are there any things that has actually provoked you to join this webinar? I'll just pause for 2 minutes. Thanks, Anand. Great. So you are here to pursue your interest and understand more about the subject. You want, Twishal writes that she wants to understand more about the career potential of, say, in business and economy. Thanks, Aran. Great, great. Any more responses? Thanks, Akshat. Very interesting. You are here specifically for economics in general to make a better choice for your future. We would be, through our fireside chat with our two of the experts, would be able to answer all of these. Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your intent of joining this webinar. I would now request Lavanya. She's one of our UG students. If you could introduce yourself and the capstone project that you have worked on with Ashoka faculty.
Hi everyone, I'm Lavanya Goswami. I am an ASP student at Ashoka University. ASP means I have completed my economics major, math minor, UG program, and I'm part of a fourth year here, and I'm still taking economics courses and discovering other fields. My past experiences have been that I've been a Millennium Fellow in the class of 2022. I've interned at Niti Aayog, IDS Jaipur in summer, and I've worked as a research assistant under professors at Ashoka. I am proficient in Stata, Python, and Excel. Could you please go to the next slide? So some coursework that I've done at Ashoka, as part of my degree requirement, I've taken screenshots of those and presented them here. The first box you can see is just a primary survey that we've conducted as students using Google Form, and we've summarized that. The second chart is forecasting the renewable energy shares of India in total energy consumption. The third box is a paper replication exercise that I did as part of applied econometrics. And the fourth one is some regressions that I've run as part of my development economics project. And we looked at things like, oh, how does women's autonomy have an effect on the children's education? And we run regressions to find out this relationship. And we used this data work from the source, which is called IHDS, Indian Human Development Survey. Next slide, please. So, as part of my research assistantship with Professor Deshpande, I worked on this article. It's published in scroll.in. It's out there in the public domain. You can access it easily. You can just search for this title. And it's about how gender norms have changed in the past 3 decades. Next slide, please. So let's go over some of the graphs. Could you please zoom in on the first one? Yeah. So as you can see, a little bit. Could you scroll up? Yeah, thank you. So as you can see, women's educational attainment is something you can see in the footnote of this. It's measured as the number of respondents, number of single years of education completed by the respondent. That's the question which is asked in the survey, and we take the average amount of that question summarized by state and by the round of the survey. This is based on NFHS survey, which is National Family and Health Survey. It's government data. It's provided by the NSS, and it has been taken in the rounds 92, 98, 99, up until 2019-21. So we can see that in Bihar, for example, the average educational attainment in the 1992-93 was about 2 years, and it's progressed up to at least 5.7 years in recent years. And overall, if you zoom out, you'll see that all the states, the blue dots are towards the red, towards the right of the red dots. So that means that educational attainment has increased over time in all states. And you can also see the heterogeneity in this change. Like in some states, the amount of change in years is different. And in some states, the starting point was different, the ending point is different. Similarly, we see that sun preference has also declined over the years. Why? Because the red dots are now on the right of the blue dots. So sun preference, by the way, is measured as, okay, the number of how many more boys do you want as compared to girls, and if the sun preference is not there, then this number goes to zero. So, for example, Puducherry, it's quite near zero, and that's because it's declined over years. And similarly, in other states also, you see that the trends have shifted away from sun preference to more gender equality. Next slide, please. These are some other graphs. Actually, this entire article contains 12 graphs, and you'll see a lot of trends here. And making these graphs is not as simple as it looks and on the surface. We use softwares like Stata, Excel, Python, and here on the bottom of the screen you'll see that each individual is shown as a single row. So this individual has this age, is from this state, has this much sun preference, has this much years of education, and we use some commands to summarize and get these neater tables. Next slide, please. This is a Python graph, and this is for another project. If you just run these graphs and put in data in an Excel format, you'll get neat graphs like this. So this is about crops which are produced by district. Next slide, please. So based on my experiences, I have also created a blog, and you can share it out. Check it out. It's on my personal um, thing, but it's not related to Ashoka's opinions. Next slide, please. Yeah, I would like to thank my professors for guiding me throughout Ashoka, and special thanks to Economics Department and CETA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lavanya. I think to place the context, it becomes really important that our students be in the space of undergrad. First of all, I would like to say it's commendable work. I would really, really go through your article. If you could just place the link in the chat box as well, and just re-emphasizing the importance of tools and getting equipped with these latest, tools to actually help in solving and working with the data space. So I'll move to the next section of the webinar, wherein we have two of our experts and just introduce them. So we have Nikhil Sood, who is a visiting faculty for the Department of Entrepreneurship at Ashoka University. He is the ex-VP of Goldman Sachs, and he comes from the diverse background of working with GoWorks and General Electric. He has done his BS from MIT and MS in computational sciences and engineering from Harvard. He would be teaching a course that is Startup to the End Game, which falls under the category of business and entrepreneurship. Then we also have Parush Arora, who has joined Ashoka University, and he is the faculty at Ashoka. He has done his PhD in economics from the University of California and also has done his bachelor's and master's from Delhi University and Madras School of Economics, respectively. He would be teaching econometrics essentials in Horizons Achievers program this summer 2025. I would now request Nikhil if you would like to add something to your credentials, or Parush if you would like to add to what your introduction has been. Then we can open. We'll start with the fireside chat. Nikhil, do you want to go first?
No, I think that was a great introduction. I've had some corporate and startup experiences, and I'm teaching at Ashoka. I'm doing some research now and shifting to academia, making a career jump myself. So it's exciting to be here.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. And Parush, would you like to add something?
No, I think it was a good introduction so far. So I don't have anything to add. I've been having a great experience at Ashoka so far, especially in academics. Uh, yeah, that's that.
So I'll just now want the spotlight to be on both of you. So Nikhil, I'll ask this question to you. Why did you choose to pursue a career, say, in entrepreneurship, and like what motivated you to join the world of business? If you could just let our audiences know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reasoning was that, business is a way to have societal impact, right? So business is just a structure of an organization. It can be, for profit, non-profit, so on. And initially, so I did my background is in engineering in computer science. And so I like being technical, but I very quickly realized in my career that in order to have a bigger impact beyond being an individual contributor, let's say, you have to learn how to, manage people. You have to learn how organizations work. And so that's how it happened. And first work experience at GE was a large company, so that requires its own skill set and maturity to get things done there. But after that, I wanted to get involved in startups and see if I can do things at a quicker pace. So that also requires a different skill set in terms of what you get done every day and so on. So yeah, so these experiences have been fantastic. And I think, especially in technology, because that's my background, business is the way things are structured. If you look at OpenAI is a good example right now, where they have also shifted from non-profit to for-profit because they feel they can, make a bigger impact that way. So business is sort of just a vehicle, it's just a medium to implement technological change.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks for sharing your story. I'll just have a follow-up question. So why do you think since our audience is from the space of high school, being a parent or a student, like why should a student in, say, when they're in grade 9, 10, or 11, 12, why should they be thinking about this potential career, say, in business or entrepreneurship?
Right. I think because, see, the world is changing very fast with technology and we want to remain relevant in our career. And even if we don't end up doing a startup or, being entrepreneurial, I think is very important, right? So understanding how can we be entrepreneurial in our own career is super critical, and that requires a certain mindset, right? Of leadership, of teamwork, working with others, managing people both, above at different levels above us, below us, at our level, and so on. And so I think this is very relevant even if you don't, business is not, I mean, entrepreneurship is not just about doing a startup yourself, right? So you could be entrepreneurial in a big company, you could be entrepreneurial, a research career, an academic career requires being very entrepreneurial, right? You have to be, an individual contributor. You have to also work in a team. You have to write research papers. You have to think of ideas about what to research next. So all kinds of, if you get into, even if you become a sports person or an actor, or anything requires some level of entrepreneurship, right? And so I think thinking of it in terms of a mindset is very important. And I would add, if you are not sure, right, of what you want to major in at the college level, then it's a good major to have. Because in my experience, so I did I did computer science on the side as well. But what business allowed me to do is take courses in, like, entrepreneurship, in political science, in economics, and because psychology, right? These are all things that are affect entrepreneurship in business. And I think that really makes you like a well-rounded person, sort of like a liberal arts curriculum, right? So I think it's a very good major to focus on, especially if you want to essentially keep options open, if you want to have a good career impact later on, and see where it goes after that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil. I think just to summarize, like this is the space of wherein students are uh, focusing a lot on their foundations, and it becomes really critical for them to have this mindset per se. So thank you so much, Nikhil. Thanks for sharing your story. So Parush, I'll open the same question to you. Like, why did you choose this as a career, like pursuing economics? What really motivated you? Could you please share
Right.
your story with us?
Oh, definitely. I think I have a different point of view from how the question is being asked. It's not like I chose the things that I'm interested in. A lot of time things choose you to be interested in them. Uh, in the sense that I could, if I wanted to be interested in things, I would be interested in those subjects which has the highest scope. But a lot of times you are just curious about things, you go with the flow, and you have to just pay attention to what grips you. I think there are two factors that led me choosing economics. One was my cousin was also in economics, so I had some background from the family that, okay, this is a subject. And just staying around him, having a conversation on economics, I was much aware about it. And then later on, when I pursued it, I think there were certain, the mathematical aspect of the economics gripped me a lot, the statistics that we involve. Uh, because I think it's one of those subjects which has a right balance between using the math for the statistics and the intuition element. Because at the end of the day, economics is about studying humans. So the intuition element is very strong. So I think I was just interested in the subject, and every time I went with the flow, choosing the subject as my career, in hindsight, it turned out to be the right decision.
Thanks, Parush. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You did mention about the scope of this field actually motivated you to join this. I think I would like you to hold on to that thought because I think a lot of students were also asking this question. But
Hmm.
I would just ask you this follow-up question, very similar, like why should a high schooler think about this discipline or this potential pathway for themselves?
Uh, so I think as Nikhil also mentioned, it's like a very fast pace. The world is changing at a very fast pace. And in the space of business, what everyone is doing is solving some sort of a problem. That's all you can just, if I have to describe what everyone is doing, they're solving some sort of a problem. And to solve some sort of a problem, these days, all the solutions are driven by data. So you need as much information. So a more informed person will be able to make a more, like a better decision as compared to a less informed person. And the definition of information in today's world we have defined as data. So I'm someone who works in econometrics, And in economics, even though in high school you have courses like microeconomics and macroeconomics, eventually when you pursue economics at a higher level, it all boils down to how you can use data to make economic decisions. So I think in that way, someone should have the knowledge of how they can use the information, compress it in a certain way, and use it to make that particular decision that you are trying to, maybe with respect to the problem that you're trying to solve.
Thanks, Paresh. I think it lays a very beautiful idea for the students, like data collection, to know what to do with that entire data, and like how Lavanya also shared, to be able to decipher it and work on the sets and come with an outcome or output, and that actually goes back to the society. So thank you, Parush. I think now I would really like you to answer this question. What is the scope per se if a student is interested, say, in econometrics? So what are the potential careers? What are the choices they can make, and what are the, I would say, lucrative job opportunities or universities that they can target? So you would have any insights on that?
Oh, yes. So if someone wants, I think it also depends on the degree of economics that you have, but I will just talk generally. So I think a degree in economics equips you with the skill of using data in a certain way. So I think one of the first career options that people can explore is a data analyst slash data scientist, where you work with data from. So I interned in Amazon for 3 months when I was doing my PhD. So I was working on the Amazon data, uh, how people respond to delays when they click on a page, whether they lead to increase in the probability of sales or decrease in the probability of sales. So all the data you have from the past for the last, let's say, 5 years, millions of people. So can you use that data to do decision making? So these days industries hire a lot of data analysts, data scientists. The second form of career is a data consultant, where you have an intuition about how the economy works, how the business works, and you work at a front end as a consultant. And then I think if you have a master's or a PhD degree, there are jobs for as economist itself, where if I have to make a difference between an economist and a data scientist, an economist tries to make a causal claim from one variable to the other, and that's very difficult to do. And like run experiments, try to formulate an experiment in a way so that that gives you an answer. So I think all these I think positions open up when you have economics as a degree.
Thank you so much, Parush. Nikhil, would you like to answer that question? Like, what are the potential careers, or what is the scope if a student takes up business or entrepreneurship in their high school system, like space?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, business has a lot of scope. There's especially as the Indian economy is growing, there's a lot of scope for good leaders in companies, right? Especially if you are able to develop your interests in terms of what area you want to work in, where you want to do a startup, and you're able to combine business or entrepreneurship with those interests. So, for instance, at Ashoka, I teach a course on product management. And we typically, a lot of what I see are students who are double majoring. So Ashoka has a very strong entrepreneurship, a CFE, Center for Entrepreneurship. And then students will combine that typically either with the most popular courses I see are computer science, probably economics and psychology, I would say. And then we also have other majors in English, etc. And so then they are able to look very much beyond, an individual discipline and see how they can use those degrees to impact the broader world, right? So do they want to start up straight away after graduating? Do they want to gain some work experience and then do that? And so the entrepreneurship courses are very case study based. They are very sort of like giving you real world hands-on experience. So it gives you, so product management is one career path as an example, right? To answer the question directly, but it gives you insights or ideas into, do you want to start up by yourself? Do you want to work, as let's say, go into engineering and get a software development job and then do a startup later on? Do you want to start something with a team? So there's lots of permutations and combinations, and you don't have to stick to those decisions after you graduate. So you can do one thing, try it out, see how it goes, and do something else, right? I think broadly there's a lot of value in students who have a business and then are able to basically combine it with some of the other fields, right? And even business, I mean, by itself, there's a lot of need for people for instance, in HR, people, as Parsh was mentioning, data analytics is really big, and a lot of our business courses are also focused on data sets and how that influences business. There's a lot of different avenues for just I would say choosing within business itself. Students get into finance, so we see a lot of people get into like investment banking or that. There's different pathways that you can take, right? So you can get into accounting, you can get into just setting corporate strategy. So these days, a lot of startups in India also have basically a set of team members that will just focus on the strategy, right? So working with the CEO's office, etc. And so yeah, so I think the options are unlimited, and I would say the best thing about the major is, especially if you combine it in a field in which you develop expertise, then I think that combination also is very powerful. So I think again, it just is a vehicle that allows you to explore your interest in college if you're not completely sure, and then sets you to take off from there basically.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. I think we truly, align with the sense that it is no longer from A to B from B to C. It's not that path. And I think there are a lot of permutations and combinations, like you mentioned, both true for economics and business. So wherein students, if they combine, say, with any skill set or any field that they're particularly interested in, I think the potential pathways are enormous. But thank you so much for actually giving a very nuanced, pertinent examples for our audience to understand what are the possible trajectories that they can take. Uh, I would open the floor for question and answers, but just quickly before that, Nikhil, if you would like to share about the Horizons Achievers program, the course that you're teaching, that is Startup to the End Game, what really excites you when you bring this course in the space for a high school student, and what is one outcome that know that the students would be achieving post this course?
Yeah. So I think what's really exciting about teaching this course for me is just bringing very relevant real-world examples of startups and their journeys to students. So we discuss, companies both in India and abroad. So in India, an example would be Zepto. One of the foreign companies we discuss is Airbnb, and just very recent relevant examples of how these are very ordinary people who had this idea that called on them and then took it up and their journey. So the Zepto founders are so young, right? In their 20s, early 20s. And so just making students connect with that and seeing that in this day and age with technology, with the internet, anyone can do anything at any age, right? And so entrepreneurship is not this rocket science thing we look at. It's not like building a rocket and going to the moon or going to the Mars. It's something that literally anybody can do. And I think so as part of the outcome of the course is getting students to realize that if they can have this mindset, right, then this will really serve them very well later on, no matter what they do, right? So even big companies are being disrupted so fast with data, with technology, with AI. You have to be entrepreneurial, even if you're in a corporate job, right? You have to be entrepreneurial no matter what you're doing. And just getting students to familiarize themselves with that mindset and how these principles, so like one example is pivoting, right? So we use this word in startups where if one strategy is not working, you pivot to another, right? So these are the kinds of things we talk about, which I think are very, very applicable to all paths that students might take. And so just giving this entrepreneurial lens with very relevant, very current examples, I think that's really exciting, and seeing if students relate to this outcome.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. I think students really, really, really like this course, and I think it's one of the most trending skills amongst high schoolers as well, wherein they see as a potential tool wherein they can use it in different spaces as well. So thank you so much. Parish, would you like to share your excitement, like what really excites you when you bring this course for high school students, and what is one outcome that high school student would be achieving post this course?
Oh, definitely. So I think econometrics is a course which is always introduced at a undergrad level. So first of all, I'm very excited to introduce it to high schoolers, and how I will be molding the course so that it's very appropriate for the students who are looking forward to make career choices right after their 12th standard. I think one of the outcomes that I would really love to achieve with students are whoever who takes this course, they will get a sense of what kind of statistics they can use on a data uh, to make certain decisions. And not only that, to see, so maybe make sense out of how other organizations or government make decisions and what kind of data they might be using to make that decision. So that, uh, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're having a discussion, it's important to know what's the backstory of how someone has taken that decision. So, for example, if you want to know how much government is allocating money in the education sector, it's important to know that what is the average education of an Indian citizen or how's the distribution looks like. So then based on those statistics, you probably will be able to relate more to the government why they took this decision and how much is the allotment there. Uh, I think if that sense could be taught in that course, I think I will be really happy with that.
Thank you so much, Parush. I think it places a very wonderful context for all our students. I'll just open the chat wherein participants share like what is the intention of them to join the webinar today. I'll just see if we have missed out on any of the questions. They are here to increase their understanding of the subject and understand where their interests lie. I think Anand, would you like to unmute yourself and ask this question, or do you think like we have answered it? Anand, are you still here? Yes, you are. Yash, can we unmute them? You can also meanwhile raise your hands if anybody wants to ask any question, or they can type it in the chat as well. Akshat, you may ask us the question with respect to Horizons Achievers program if you think you have anything that is unclear. I think we can just open the panel to open for all. Yeah, I think everybody would be able to raise their hands and unmute themselves and ask questions. I think Jay Sharan, your question was answered. Like, what are the potential career choices that can be looked at when you're talking about the field of economics and business? Anybody would like to raise any question? I think if we have anything on the Q&A section. Yes, Anshika, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
I have one question. So currently I am in MYP. Next year I'm going to go to DP, and I'm planning on taking business HR as one of my subjects. So in that case, how will this program help me more, or what more can it teach me?
Yeah, Nikhil.
Yeah, I can go for that. I think so the course is beneficial in just, understanding how these courses are taught, right, at the college level. So for instance, like the case methodology that we use can, I think, just exposing yourself to that, and seeing, sort of getting a sense of the different aspects of uh, like the business curriculum just from these cases, right? So whether that's, sales, marketing, technology, etc. And I think that'll just like help you prepare yourself more for deeper study, and it'll help you sort of determine specifically within business where you might want to go, right? So, more exposure to more of these cases will just give you sort of a better idea, instead of being a generalist from now, like how much deeper you want to go into like a particular segment. Does that answer it, or?
Yeah, that answers it.
Thanks, Nikhil. Do we have any more questions? Okay. Okay, I think we were able to answer most of the questions that the students and the parents posted on the chat. We don't see any more questions on the Q&A section though. Uh, Yash, can we launch the Zoom polls for our participants? If everybody can take 2 minutes just to respond to the Zoom questions. Meanwhile, if something pops in your head, if you think that this question has not been answered, or you want to, uh, talk about it in a more depth, then this is your chance to talk to our panelists. Please don't shy away from unmuting yourselves or typing in your question in the chat box.
I have one more question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I also wanted to ask, I've done the Loda Genius program last year, and over there we had an entrepreneurship program that kind of followed a lot of the concepts that was mentioned here. I was also wondering you said it was a weekend program, right? Can you specify what dates the
Yeah,
program is?
so it's an online program, and the courses would be running from May 17th to June 14th. On Saturdays and Sundays, you would be learning with the faculty on a Saturday, and you would be working under very personalized mentorship format with our teaching fellows who are experts in their fields on a capstone project. So it's an online course that you would be taking with us for 5 weeks consecutive, 5 Saturdays and Sundays. And the dates are May 17th to June 14th.
One of the reasons I was asking that is because I'm in the process of applying to LGP again this year.
Okay.
So in the case that I do that program again, will I be able to attend?
Absolutely. I think you don't
Day?
have any activities per se over the weekend. And since it is online, you can just join the classes from the campus itself.
Okay.
Great. Any other question anyone has with respect to the program itself, Horizons Achievers program? I'll just also quickly share my screen to talk about the application process and the important dates. I think, Yash, we can move on to the next poll. So the early application deadline for these courses is April 6th, and we would be running these courses from May 17th to June 14th. And applications are open now. We would encourage students to apply early because we cater to smaller cohorts in this online format. And you can scan this QR code right now to enroll yourself. Vishal, are you trying to say something? We cannot hear you. I can see you're on unmute.
Yeah, I am here for my daughter who's unsure of what she wants to pursue. So I wanted to know if, and she's doing psychology with commerce.
Okay.
So, and the fields that the course is offering now, this online course, are still too diverse for somebody who is so unsure of what she wants to pursue. So, what do you think we should aim for? The first thought that came to me was probably psychology and then critical thinking. But then, as Nikhil said, that it tells you on how you can lead towards more entrepreneurship with a diverse knowledge on several aspects, and then probably make a choice later. How do we, for a person like us, for her, how do we take a decision? How do we help her take a decision?
So she's in which grade, if I may?
She's finishing 11th and will be going to the 12th.
And she's interested in psychology and subjects
No,
which are
she's pursuing commerce with psychology in school. But personally, she wants to be, she's interested in culinary.
okay. Interesting choice. Parish, would you like to answer that question? Or I can.
Uh, yeah, that's a difficult one to answer right now, given that I myself is not an expert in these fields, psychology. Uh, I think I will just go back to Nikhil's point that these courses give you these courses are also informing you whether you want it's kind of an elimination also if you don't want to pursue something. So you take these courses and eventually, uh, if it hits, that's great. You find yourself interested in some of them. If it's not, you know what you don't have to do. So at the end of the day, I think I will wait to get more information of how the interests are manifested and then maybe take a decision after that.
Yeah, Nikhil, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to add to what Parsh was saying, like Vishal, it's a great question. And these courses, we have the psychology course, we have the entrepreneurship course. I think it might be a little different from high school because they will be more applied and more real world. And so the exposure right now would be, let's say, very theoretical, right? Which determines if she's interested, in psychology, entrepreneurship, etc. But taking these courses, exactly like Parsh was saying, being very real world, being very applied, it could help her thinking in terms of does she really want to pursue this or potentially even eliminate it. So the difference in the high school way of teaching versus the Ashoka or the undergrad way of teaching, I think that could benefit her to expose, psychology, entrepreneurship, etc. with this method.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and just to add to that with respect to the courses, so the psychology course that we are offering right now is being offered at the intersection of neurosciences, like how you can see the impact of your emotions on your neurocircuitry. So I think psychology course would not be an appropriate choice for your daughter to pursue, but I really, really like the choice of taking, say, business, finance, and economics with psychology as an offering in high school space. I think we understand like this is one of the most trending subject choices also amongst high school students, wherein they are aware of this intersection. So I think you can explore these courses of economics, definitely econometrics essentials, wherein you are talking about the decision making factor, working around the data. You would be working on the real time data sets, and you would be using a lot of tools and R language to process those data. And there's another offering as well, which is more pertinent to strategic decision making, which is game theory. So, Vishal, if you could write to us with more, particular questions like these are the concepts or skills that your daughter is interested in, I think we would be more than happy to answer those questions as well. But I think these are the choices. Psychology is not offered at the intersection of, say, how it can be used to understand the behavior of personnel or organizations when we talk in the context of what commerce as a discipline brings for high school students. But definitely you can explore these courses of econometrics essentials and definitely strategic decisions and game theory. Happy to answer any other question that you have, Vishal.
Oh, thank you.
We'll wait for 2 more minutes. I think questions are really popping up now. Okay. Uh, thank you everyone. Thank you, Parush. Thank you, Nikhil, for your time and being so kind with your responses. I think we had an amazing time interacting live with you, and it was a great opportunity for our participants to listen to you live and get, answers to their questions. So thank you so much. Thank you, Lavanya, for sharing your UG project with us. I'm more than happy to read your article. I think it sounds really interesting. Thank you everyone for joining us on a Saturday. Looking forward to some of your questions, maybe at our email ID. Yash, if you can share that on the chat box. Happy to answer any questions that come post this webinar related to the career choices or the subject choices or any questions that you might have with respect to the program. Thank you so much. Thanks again. Bye. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.